In this video demonstration, we are going to use Photoshop in order to examine complementary colors and work with the chroma in order to mix one hue with the other hue to get neutral gray. So we've got a saturated yellow that we are going to mix with its complementary color purple, and as a result we will end up with a neutral gray. It's important to note what it'll look like when we're finished with this exercise, and also see that it's not a true neutral gray that you get, and that's because we're in a digital environment, but in mixing paints we would be able to get more of a neutral gray. But we do get a neutral tone when we mix these two colors. Let's get started. So I've supplied a document template that has a rectangle of yellow and a rectangle of purple. So we're going to mix these two hues together and get a neutral tone. So let's first start by duplicating that yellow. So using the selection tool, and that is up in the top corner, the move tool, I select that yellow. And I need to duplicate that because I'm going to keep my originals and then build on them to mix these hues together. So I can go to Layer, Duplicate Layer, and click on OK. Now using the Move tool, I'm going to slide that yellow down, and now I've duplicated that yellow. So I want to mix that with some purple, okay, as I build this scale. So I'm going to click on the purple to select it and duplicate that. So Layer, Duplicate Layer, OK. Now I'll bring that over and layer those so that you can see the yellow is underneath and the purple is on top. So now that the purple is selected, I am going to change the opacity of that to 80%. So in the Layers palette, there is an opacity slider, and I can move that over to 80%. There we go. You can see when you combine a saturated yellow with less saturated purple, that the resulting color is kind of muted. Let's do that again. We're going to now do this one at 60%. So another way to select that yellow is to just click on it, and if I'd like to duplicate it, I can use the Alt key. I get a double-headed arrow, and I can drag that down and duplicate that. I'll also do that with the purple, so I click on the purple rectangle to select it with my Move tool, hold the Alt key, and then slide it over. So now those are both at 100%, but I want to change that opacity to the purple to 60%. So I click on the slider and move that down to 60%. There we go. So let's do another one. So again, I'm going to click on the yellow to select that rectangle. If I feel more comfortable, I can use Layer, Duplicate Layer, say OK. Then I can drag that down. I'll do that with the purple again. Layer, Duplicate Layer, say OK to that, and drag that and place it on top of the yellow rectangle. This one is going to be at 40% opacity. So instead of using the slider, which I can move back and forth, I'm going to type in 40 because it's just a little bit easier. So 40, hit Enter, and we have one more to do. I really like holding that Alt key. So with the yellow selected, I'm going to hold the Alt key, drag, add one more, do that with the purple. And now the opacity on this purple is going to be at 20%. So I'm just going to type in 20. So now you can see the range from yellow to kind of purple with yellow, which is a little neutralizing it. There in the middle, it becomes even more neutral. Doesn't look quite gray, but you can see that it is a kind of muted tone. Now we can do that very same thing with the purple and add dabs of yellow. So let's begin. Let's duplicate the purple, holding the Alt key, and drag it down. Do 1. I'm going to drag it again and do 2, 3, and then 4. Because I want purple to be on the bottom. Now I'm going to take the yellow and I'm going to place that on top. So yellow on top. One more. But notice the yellow is actually going behind. If I turned off that yellow, you'd see it's behind the purple. So I'm going to take and grab all those yellows and move them in the Layers palette by clicking and dragging to the very top of the stack. So they're on top of the purple. This yellow here is yellow number 5. So I just need to grab these 4. If I hold the Shift key, I can grab all of those, and now clicking and dragging, I can move them to the top, and now they're on top. Excellent. So now I'm going to change the opacity of the yellow. So with the yellow selected, I'm going to change that opacity to 80, and I'm just going to type that in. Now the yellow is just changing. This opacity I'm going to change to 60. On this yellow, I'm going to change the opacity to 40. And the last one of the yellow, I'm going to change that opacity to 20%. There we go. So now you can see from our original that this is what our goal was. The one that we just created from the template shows yellow with different gradations of purple added to it to create kind of a neutral there in the middle. Not quite a gray, but kind of a brownish neutral tone. Be sure to save your file. So under File, go Save As, and give that Chroma Yellow Purple, add your name. I'm going to say Gina, and save that so that I can submit that. That concludes the video demonstration.